we were talking about a few moments ago, President Obama is going back to the Gulf Coast tomorrow. Meantime, Moody's, the rating agency, following Fitch and cutting BP's credit rating, and they're concerned the costs from the spill could restrain the company's ability to focus on other areas of business. Obviously, BP has a dividend and also a high capex spending program to find more oil. BP is now modifying its plan to stop the leak. The Coast Guard's Thad Allen says the company is going back to the top hat strategy, where a device is going to be placed over the pipe after they get a cut to try to basically just not stop the leak, but to cap it. In Washington, 2 U.S. senators are calling for BP to suspend the dividend until the full cleanup costs are known. Interesting that senators would make a decision on dividends, but maybe that's a separate story. BP is scheduled to hold a conference call with market analysts tomorrow. Pretty interesting. I don't even think anyone called for Citigroup to suspend the dividend back in the financial crisis, although they did it on their own. As we spent a few minutes ago, President Obama is going back. So let's talk a little bit more about what should be done now. Michael Bruno is the Dean of the School of Engineering and Science at Stevens Institute of Technology. Good to have you with us.
Thanks.
All right, so you've been with us throughout this. As you said, disappointing 45 days later, we're still talking.
Yeah.
Because a few days in, when I was in Louisiana, you were on the floor with Mark talking about this. So what should they do from here? I mean, do you view it as, hey, let's keep trying the same thing again and again? Or, they've tried a few things, each of them again and again until it works, but pretty much now we got to bet on that relief well being the solution in August?
The final solution is the relief well. But in the meantime, they can't stop. Any drop of oil is too much. So that's got to be their mantra. They have to keep going. Now it's a top hat. We've been there before. Maybe now that the BOP has been cleaned up, it'll work. I don't know. And
you're involved in obviously providing some of the satellite scanning of where things are, what the situation is. And what can you tell us that you're seeing? Because so many people are confused. It seems so big in one way of looking at it, but then in another way it seems small, that at least they've been effective so far in preventing the oil from hitting shore.
Well, let's remember, first of all, it's still an environmental disaster, even if it's not hit the shore. And there's still animals out there dying. So, but as far as hitting the coastline, when you take a look at that coastline, especially around Louisiana, it's a really jagged, irregular coastline. There's a lot of nooks and crannies there where the oil can hide, so to speak.
On our screen, it says something that to most of us, it doesn't mean anything. Does it mean anything to you? BP has cut the riser pipe from lower marine package with shears. I mean, all these are technical engineering terms.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Yeah, it means they've taken a big old scissors and they've cut the pipe. It's going to be a jagged edge, so they can't use the device they were originally intending to use, which would have made a much tighter seal. So now they can't do it.
So it actually makes it more difficult. That
makes it more difficult. It's a jagged edge, and they're going to go. That's why they're saying they're going to go with a top hat. So just a cap. That means it's not going to be 100% effective.
Now, we all know at this point that BP in its application for this drill had said they could handle a spill as big as it could possibly be, which was, a fraction of what it is. Okay, we all know that at this point. There were issues in the approval process, issues at MMS. But what I'm curious about is in the future, how do you stop this from happening, right? They had a system, it failed, the backup failed. Are we going to be in a position where if you're going to drill in deep water, you got to drill 2 holes, 175% of the way down, so you don't have to wait 3 months for a relief well. For every single person that drills, is that going to be a change?
I think that's a great point, and I think the answer is yes. The fact is the fail-safe failed. So in my view, engineering standpoint, it wasn't a fail-safe. So give us a fail-safe, give us a BOP that fails closed, not open, or drill that secondary well, have it ready to go if a spill in fact happens.
And is that a reasonable thing to do from an engineering perspective, that you could have that ready? I mean, and if that became the requirement, does that, I guess, are we looking at a position where it would slow down offshore drilling, take them longer, cost more? Is there any context you could give us?
It would cost more. I don't think it would slow it down. You're drilling a drill to begin with, so now you're drilling 2, maybe 3. So they're going to have to factor it in. You're going to have to price. That's going to increase the cost of drilling. That's all.
It's interesting, and that obviously is not done anywhere in the world. So we'll see if it starts. All right. Well, thank you very much, Michael, for putting it in English, explaining it, and what it means as those headlines cross.